What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to talk about Thunderbolts. I'm glad to see that the movie has gotten a lot of traction. It seems like a lot of people are liking it. It's got I believe, a score of 94 from the audience, and I believe I want to say 89 from the critics, which is really good. It's very rare that a Marvel movie these days, gets anything higher than maybe like a 60. I mean, especially you know, like if the movie is really bad, Captain America: Brave New World, which that movie was dog shit. I don't know what the fuck they're trying to do with Sam's character, but obviously they're not. It's almost like they don't know how to write a likable character, and then when they think they're making a dislikable character, they're actually making them likable. Like, take the entire team of the Thunderbolts. Like, we're not supposed to like these people, but we do. I mean, I love John Walker. Like he is my favorite MCU character ever, like ever. You know, I almost wish he had been around, like in the beginning, during the good times, like even if like they had introduced him, like say I don't know, in Captain America 2 or something, where like Cap or no, actually a good part to probably introduce him would have been during, or yeah, the end of Civil War, or well, right after Civil War, when Captain America, he gives up the mantle and goes on the run. That would have been the perfect time for John Walker to come in. The government, is like, all right, the hell with Steve Rogers. He's a criminal. He's broken people out of the raft. He's gone his own way, and he's basically an enemy of the state. So basically, they find John Walker. He's in the military, and he's got his 3 medals of honor and all that. And people, like they're like, hey, yeah, new Captain America. And then I guess you could have like him. I mean, I hate to say for him to do something bad, because I just like his character so much. But I suppose if you wanted to paint him as like a more vengeful Captain America, like say, like I don't know, he's like beating the shit out of like some, I don't know, like bad guys, and you could have like Tony Stark be like, whoa, whoa, easy, Cap, easy, and he might like knock Iron Man back and be like, lay off or some shit, just like let everybody know, but man, this guy, he's a little unstable, he's pretty crazy, you know. But no, it's not what we got. Instead, we got, the good successor to Captain America, which I like that. I like that a lot. You know, we get introduced to Captain America, 2.0, and, we hear all about his great feats, and how, he's, got 3 medals of honor. He's very humble. He talks about how he just wants to do the job and save people, be a hero. He's not arrogant in the least. And, that's one of the things. I mean, seriously, like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, when I read some of these comments online about John Walker. It's like, they're these people, and I don't know how they can be so dumb. That or they're being willfully obtuse about this guy, and they just hate him, and so they you know do this or write this crazy shit online. Like, here, let me pull this up because I've been waiting to save this. So apparently this was posted 3 days ago. It says, spoiler, no, the writers didn't accidentally make John Walker a likable character, and I'm sick of people saying they did. And just it goes into this whole spiel, and it's awful, awful. It says it's so damn annoying to see people misunderstanding what Falcon and the Winter Soldier is telling us about John Walker. The show doesn't make or the show doesn't make John out to be an awful piece of shit. It also does, or all it does is show that while John has a good heart, he wasn't a good Captain America. And I'm sorry, I disagree. I think he was a great Captain America. I think he was just as good as Steve, and honestly, I mean, personally, I like him more than Steve. I feel like he's more relatable, you know, and I know this is a weird thing, but thinking about how like Captain America was like a virgin for like 90 years, that's weird, you know. I don't know why, but it is, I mean, when you're Captain America and you got women throwing themselves at you, why, why aren't you, getting some? I mean, dude, what's wrong with you? I mean, I get you're nervous or something, but I mean, you got to bust that nut. You got to, you know, move on. But whatever, apparently he waited till, he could somehow go back in time and, bang his, girlfriend from the 50s or whatever. Anyway, uh, John Walker is an authoritarian and entitled. The man is not entitled. What the fuck? He thought that just because he had the title of Captain America, people automatically had to respect him and follow his orders. No, that could be further from the fucking truth. When he was Captain America, he had to basically beg people to work with him. He told Bucky and Sam like, hey, he's like, I'm not trying to be Steve. I'm not trying to replace Steve. He's just like, I just wanted to work together with you so we can stop these terrorists. But they were like, oh no, man, you work for the government and we're like free agents, which is stupid because Sam, you work for the fucking government too. So what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, this shit just irritates the fuck out of me. His recklessness and impulsive led to him disrupting Sam's first talk with Carly. Oh my god. Which only escalated the situation that Sam was trying to de escalate. Walker responds with force first. Hmm. Well, let me think. These are terrorists. They're all in one building. I think the best thing to do would be to call for backup, let everyone know that the terrorists are all in one building, and capture them. You know, I'm sorry, but in real life, if let's say Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden was in a church and like his I don't know, mother had just died or some shit, would you honestly take pity on Osama bin Laden? Would you? Or Saddam Hussein or Hitler or any of those other people who committed mass genocide? No, no, you wouldn't. I mean, and if you do, you got problems. I mean, the fact that that pisses me off so much that people want to defend that stupid bitch and fucking say, oh my god. I mean, that bitch should have either been shot by Zemo, or she was, but she should have died. Should have been arrested by Walker, or, I don't know, fucking shot by the cops or something. I mean, man, I hate that character so much. Okay. I mean, seriously. Ugh. He was put into a position he wasn't ready for, and when he lost his friend Lamar, who kept him on the right path, I'm sorry, he was always on the right path. And yeah, when he lost his friend Lamar, he was fucking pissed, like any normal person would. If Steve Rogers lost Tony Stark or Bucky Barnes and he didn't get revenge on, say, Red Skull, we would all be like, this guy's a fucking pussy. I mean, nobody would respect Steve Rogers if he was like, I'm not going to get revenge because killing is wrong, but, I could see your point of view, all right? I'm not going to call you a terrorist, Red Skull, but, um, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck people would do in this situation. I guess I can't kill you. I can't arrest you. And I won't call you a terrorist. I mean, seriously, that is Sam. That is Sam's character. He empathizes with the fucking terrorists. Oh my god. It makes me so mad. He made a mistake. Well, no, not really. I mean, he killed a terrorist. And then it says, yes, killing the flag smasher. What? Yes, killing the flag smasher was a bad thing? This person is fucking stupid. And how the fuck do you have 1.3 thousand likes? Are you fucking mental? I mean, that proves that there's at least 1.3 thousand stupid people out there. I mean, we're talking really stupid. The guy was beaten and begging for his life. He was in a position where Walker could subdue him, unlike most people Sam and Steve killed. I mean, no, he wasn't beaten. He just ran out the fucking building. He threw a concrete trash can at John Walker, and then whenever John knocked him down with the shield, he was like, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." Even though he was just holding, Walker captive, so Carly could stab him in the heart, and if it wasn't for the Chad Lamar who fucking tackled that freckled ass bitch and saved his life. I mean, God, the stupidity of people is irritating. It's so irritating. Whew, I'm gonna fucking have a stroke over this stupid bullshit. Anyway, where did I leave off? Let's see. All right, here we go. The guy was beaten and blah blah blah. And Walker could subdue him, unlike most people Sam and Steve killed. I mean, we've all seen, the Winter Soldier when Steve was, fucking like breaking people's spines and throwing them in the ocean. Fucking, he took one guy's head off, but it just didn't show it. I mean, and like I said, I don't have a problem with the killing. I think it's badass. But, it's like these sheep are out there and, they listen to the bad music and then they see the blood on the shield and then their nuts just go right up into their body and they're like, oh my god, there's blood on the shield. Oh my god, he's a bad guy. Look at the way the music is playing and he's just standing there looking so menacingly. Ah! Fucking pussies. Let's see. Even after that, Sam still tries to empathize with. No, no, he did not. Sam tries to empathize with and help John. No, he walks in there with fucking Bucky and says, "Stop, Walker." And he actually no. First, Walker he runs to a place where he can be alone, so he can think about everything that's just happened, his friend's death, the fact that he took a life. It's all weighing heavy on him, and he's like, oh man, he's like, I killed someone in public, and that's not gonna look good for me. Fuck. And he's really stressed out, which everyone who wouldn't be. And then all of a sudden, he's kind of like he's just like, all right, I gotta go back to work. And then he sees Sam and Bucky walk up, and he's like, you guys don't look good. You should see a medic. He worries about them. He actually says, hey, you guys might need help. And then that's when Sam's like, stop, Walker. You need to stop right now. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Anyways, let's see. Uh, let's see. That's why he tried to get John to explain his side of the story to the government. There was no such thing. I mean, I think maybe one scene, he said, we don't want anyone to get hurt. I mean, but, you know, John wasn't hurting anybody. I mean, it wasn't like he was a crazy person going on a killing spree, unlike that bitch Carly, which you sympathize with, you fucking idiot. Let's see. Anyway, but despite all of this, hang on, I lost my place. Anyway, but despite all of this, the show still makes an effort to get you to understand John. His anger for the Flag Smashers was justified. His friend and several innocent people were murdered. Well, then why the fuck are you saying that he didn't do the right thing? Let's see. Even when he tried to kill Sam and Bucky, he clearly wasn't in the right state of mind. He was defending himself. Did you not watch the fucking scene? What is wrong with you? I mean, seriously, in the scene, this is how it starts. And you can look it up. I think it's on, YouTube or whatever. And, he's like, he realizes, like, all they want from me is my shield, and he says, "You don't want to do this." And then Bucky looks at him and says, "Yeah, we do." And then that's when they throw the punch at him and start attacking John Walker. John Walker defends himself. He starts losing his mind as the fight goes on because he realized, hey, these fucking assholes have turned me down every time I tried to help them, and now they're here attacking me, trying to take my shield. Right after my fucking friend died, you know, what the fuck is wrong with you two? I mean, and he says in the fucking fight as he's losing his mind, like I am now, he's like, "Why are you making me do this?" You know? And then, he has a line where he says, "I am Captain America," which you fuck right, you are Captain America. He's probably raging from the fucking serum. His friend's dead. He's fucking pissed at these two motherfuckers. And then they break his arm and steal his shield. I mean, the shield that fucking Sam didn't even want because he was like, "Oh, I can't be Captain America because I'm black." Like, I'm sorry, but did you not see or when Rhodey was Iron Patriot, who was in the Stars and Stripes and defended the president? He was the president's bodyguard. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, I'm just seriously just I can't comprehend it. It's mind-boggling. Anyway, uh, let's see. He clearly was in the right state of mind. The show and the writers make it abundantly clear that John was trying his best to be a great Captain America, but he was put into a position by a government that never cared for him and consistently pressured, and when inevitably broke, they abandoned him. Yeah, they turned on him over something that they could have, honestly, if John had gone to the news or someone and told them the truth, told them what happened. Be like, yes, I executed a terrorist who was, involved in, killing my best friend Lamar, and then he held me while Carly Morgenthau, the leader of the Flag Smashers, tried to stab me. I then chased down the suspect. He resisted arrest, and in doing so, I had no other choice but to, take lethal force, which is true because the guy was a fucking menace and dangerous. I mean, like I said, he never surrenders. Never. The guy, he says, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." That's the only two words, or the only two things he says. He never says, "Look, man, I'm sorry, stop." He doesn't say, "Please forgive me," or anything, or, "I surrender." He never says, "I surrender." He just basically puts his hands in a defensive position, which people seem to think that means "I surrender." No, he's getting ready to brace the shield, but no. John Walker fucking jams that bitch through him. Let's see. All right. Well, anyway, yeah. So he could have gone to the fucking press and been like, the two known fugitives, Sam and Bucky Barnes, or Sam Wilson and Bucky Barnes, who broke Baron Zemo out of prison, who then I tried to arrest, but was stopped by the ethno state of Wakanda or whatever. I mean, there are so many people at the wrong here. I mean, like Wakanda is in the wrong, Sam is in the wrong, Bucky is in the wrong, Zemo is in the wrong. The only person who wasn't in the wrong was Walker. Walker did almost everything right. The only thing that he didn't do was that he didn't let the government know, "Hey, I'm going after the Flag Smashers." He should have told them, that I need backup, but the show writers, they don't think about that. They don't think about a lot of this shit. But yeah, I mean, whew, the stupidity. It's very irritating. Anyway, but despite all of this, John still chooses to do the right thing and save the government officials. Well, yeah, because he's a hero. This show isn't telling you John Walker is a bad person. It isn't telling you he's a perfect man who did nothing wrong either. He didn't do anything wrong. He is a perfect man. He's practically better than, Steve. I mean, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, Steve was better because he could left Mjolnir." Well, I gotta, think about it. What makes someone worthy to lift Mjolnir? Think about it. Okay. Um. Okay. Well, who can lift Mjolnir? Thor. What are some of Thor's traits? Is he pure of heart? No, I wouldn't say so. Does he kill? Yeah, I'd say he kills. Does he have sex? Yeah, he has sex. Does he drink? He drinks. Uh, the only thing that I can think of is that, Mjolnir is able to be wielded by someone who like needs it in battle. It senses, I think, like, when you're in danger and you're maybe fighting a great evil or something, because in the first Thor movie, he's unable to lift it, right? And he's only able to lift it whenever he's fighting the metal guardian thing. I forget what it's called. So yeah, basically it comes to him when he's in battle and he needed it. Now let's think about when Captain America lifted Mjolnir. It was when he was in battle and he was fighting a stronger opponent and he needed it. And then let's think about, who created it. It was created by Odin, who was god of war. So I think it all pretty much ties together right there. It is a tool for battle, and it seems to respond to those who need it to fight maybe a great evil or something. It's nothing. It has nothing to do with how pure of heart you are. It's just a fucking tool that's used for fucking war. I mean, think about it. You know, Mjolnir isn't like some sort of godly, like it's not something that's pure. It's a weapon. I mean, granted, it's a hammer for building, but it's never used for building. Anyway, people are just so dumb. Use your brains. Stop. Think about it. Whew. I mean, seriously. Anyway, let's see. The show and the writers that are telling you that John Walker is a flawed man. Well, everyone's flawed, okay? He fucks up constantly. So did Steve. He wasn't the right choice to become Captain America because all of those negative traits he had, but he still tries to do the right thing even if he won't always succeed. Oh, I'm sorry. What the fuck? That is Captain America. Oh my god. You basically just said that that is Captain America. You fucking moron. Oh my god. Oh my god. It I know I said it boggles the mind, but I mean, the more you think about it, the more you read the stupid bullshit. Okay, you know, Steve Rogers fucked up a lot. Okay, he wasn't the right choice to become Captain America. Well, let's think about that. Steve Rogers wasn't exactly the right choice either. No, he was a little kid, or well, a little guy. The army didn't want him. They wanted a big guy. So I guess you could say he wasn't right to be Captain America. I mean, it was, the fact that what was it again? That he still tries to do the right thing even if he won't always succeed. That sounds a lot like Captain America when he stood up to the bullies. I mean, yeah, he got his ass beat, so he didn't always succeed. That is fucking Captain America you're describing, you fucking moron. Also, the director of the finale, Kari Skoglund or whatever, flat out said the decision to redeem Walker was made because they wanted fans to like him. Yet John Glazers still fucking ignore this, John's Glazers still fucking ignore this because it fits their dumb narrative. Dude, ugh, you are the dumbest motherfucker on the planet. I mean, I know that the director, didn't like him. I could tell by the way they treated him. And, the fact that John was an underdog, much like Steve, again, people like that. People like the people that, they may not be right for the job, but they work hard to get it. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I don't like Sam's Captain America. He didn't work hard to earn it. It was just handed to him. It's much like like someone who's like going for a job and instead of, just like being like, "Oh, I or this is a good example. One second. I need some water. Throat dry. But anyway, I mean, it's like, like say the president of the United States, is about to, come to the end of their term, and they're like, oh, I choose you, John Doe, to take my place as president of the United States. That's not how it works. You don't just get to pick who's next, You have to earn it. You have to work for it. You don't I mean, nobody in their right mind is, it's like the Captain America, like basically, Steve is like, "Oh, I choose you, Sam, because, I think you would be the right choice." And he didn't say why. He didn't. No, he never says why. I just realized that. He just says, "I choose you to be the next Captain America." Well, why? I mean, yeah, he doesn't have the super soldier serum. All he has is wings and guns. Hmm. It seems like the only reason he chose him was because he's black. And maybe Steve had some white guilt or something, and that's the reason he chose Sam. I mean, because honestly, Sam doesn't embody a whole lot of traits of Captain America. I mean, I know some people will be like, "Oh, you're racist." No, not racist. Damn it, people are so stupid. I hate them. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, look at that guy. He just, that is Captain America. If they ever, like reboot the series or whatever, I pray that he will be like, I don't know, say like somehow the next Captain America or whatever, like, because, we really don't want Chris Evans back. I don't want Chris Evans back because, one, he's a hardcore liberal and he hates Christians, and I'm a Christian and I'm not a Republican or a right winger or whatever. I would say, I'm somewhere like in the middle. I'm tolerant of people, but I'm not hardcore right wing, like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm somewhere in the middle. More right than left. But anyway, so yeah, that was my John Walker rant. And basically, all those things, they make sense, and you know, like but yeah. Anyways, I was talking about the movie Thunderbolts, and in the movie, like John Walker, he's a great character, still always has been. At first, and I kind of get why they did this because, in the comic books, John Walker is a very aggressive person. You know, he basically, like he's like basically a more intense version of Captain America, and so yeah, they kind of play into that at the beginning. He is kind of like a little mean to Bob or whatever because Bob laughs at him and he doesn't like that. Excuse me. But yeah, as soon as they like get out of the bunker, which he helps them do, you know, he basically he's the last person or well, he doesn't want to leave Bob behind. If you watch the scene carefully, Ghost is the first person to say drive and leave him behind. he waits to see what Yelena has to say, and then Yelena pauses and says, "Okay, go." John never he doesn't say I'm leaving him. He and Bob actually kind of become close as the movie progresses. Because but yeah. Anyways, after that, they end up in the desert. Uh, John Walker offers Yelena and Ghost some cactus berry, and they kind of have a little moment there where they kind of see John Walker. He's not an asshole that people think he is. He's like, oh, he's like, it's not easy being a family man, and they're like, well, how do you do it? And he's like, just never give up. And they go on, and he talks about being in the military, which then Ghost has like a smart aleck line like, "Ah, we get it, you're in the military," which I mean, it's a little rude, but I mean, John was just trying to tell them like, hey, the guys looking for us, they're not going to be able to spot us because they're too high up and they're going too far out. um but yeah, then they come across the Red Guardian. And this is one scene that a lot of people probably didn't catch, but it's kind of nice. Yelena says something nice about John Walker. um you know Red Guardian, he's driving, and he looks in the rearview mirror and he's like, John Walker, second coming of Captain America. And he's like, you and I have a lot in common. And Yelena says, yeah, but unlike you, John actually knows what he's doing. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, then John saves Ghost because she tries to phase and go into the enemy vehicles, but they hit her with the sound wave, and he yanks her and pulls her back in. Which, if you notice throughout the movie, he saves a lot of people, and I think there is someone who does like John Walker, you know, that makes these movies because they keep making him a good person, and I know that there's a lot of people that hate him, and I don't get it. But yeah. Anyway, so after that, they go and meet up with Bucky, and or Bucky kidnaps them, which I don't know how he had the restraints for Ghost, and how he knew he'd need them, but whatever. I'm willing to overlook that shit, because my boy John Walker is in the movie. I'm gonna try to see the positives. Anyway, so he tries to tell Bucky like, hey, me, cut the bullshit, and just let's talk. And then for some reason, Bucky just says, you made your choices. He's like, I know it was hard for you after your wife and kid left you, or your wife left you and took your kid. And he kind of looks at Yelena like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm a failure. And and it's nice that Elena doesn't say, oh, you fucking lied to us or some shit. She looks at him and is like, damn, no wonder he's so angry. She has a feeling of empathy for him. Like, shit, man, that's rough. Because later on in the movie, she says that she comes home to no one, and she doesn't like have a family. And I think that's kind of what they were hinting at throughout this movie, is that Yelena has done the whole career woman thing, and she doesn't like it, because all she does is work, drink, and, go to sleep, and repeat the process. And I know a lot of women, that they want a family, and that feeling of coming home and seeing your husband or your kid, it'll make you feel better. And whenever your kid tells you, like, how much they love you and everything, it's great. And but yeah, like, I understand, Yelena, she can't have kids, but she could always adopt or something, or maybe if she were to, like, say, hook up with John or something, he has a kid, that way they could have a family or whatever. But I don't know, I'm kind of ranting on that or whatever. um Anyway, yeah. So let's see. And then they go and they meet up with, or they go to the the watchtower. Um, they you know kind of battle it out with excuse me. They battle it out with Century, and there's a scene again. If you look closely, John saving people. Um, there's a scene where Bucky he fires the bullets, at Century, and Century, he stops the bullets and then throws them back at fucking Bucky, and John jumps in the way and blocks some of the shield. Then when they're running out the building, and Bucky's laying on the ground unconscious, Walker picks him up and he's like, he's blocking with the shield and he's like, all right, let's go. And but yeah, I mean, pretty much, and then like at the end of the movie, he's saving people from the rubble. I mean, there's nothing bad about John Walker. That's my point. Like he's doing great things. I want to see where this character goes, and I feel like, he is the grown up version of Steve Rogers, I feel like, Steve Rogers, yeah, good for little kids, simple minded people, and even if John Walker never becomes Captain America again, I'm okay with that, you know. I mean, he's got his own thing now. I mean, as long as he's got a shield and a badass suit, and he's kicking ass, I'm happy, you know. And I like how John Walker uses his gun, you know. That's something that Steve like he started out doing, but then like he kind of moved away from using his gun, which I think was stupid, but whatever. Anyway, uh, I guess that's going to be it for my review of Thunderbolts and my little John Walker rant.